Hello, 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 hello. Is this a different link then? Do I need to take the chat to a different? Hello, can you hear us? Hello.
I see it on the thing. Hello? Yeah.
This is a different link, Reed.
It is a different link.
Someone should share it in the chat. In the
Someone
old,
should
in the
post it
old
on
chat.
Twitter. Oh, the old chat's gone.
Oh, okay.
I miss old chat.
I'm guessing you didn't email me the new one.
No,
Do you wanna?
I'm trying to pull it up, but
You don't have to.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it.
None of us are patrons, right?
Nah. Oh, come on. Never.
Look at all those messages.
All right. Sorry, guys. I've got it on my phone.
Noise. Okay. Reed has chat. I'm turning off my computer.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, it's your Windows.
I'll let everyone. Can you guys, if you're on the Patreon, can you share it in the Patreon chat channel? Share the link just so people have it. Mention the channel. I'm gonna let it get back up. I think there was like 11 or 12 people watching. Posted the new link in Patreon. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Just gonna let everyone get back in before we continue. Sorry.
So, fun secret that I can share before everyone else gets back in. My character in our one shot that we did in Hoover.
Yeah.
Her name was Hannelore Musbat.
Yes.
Does anyone know what that last name means in English? Any guesses?
Moosebot.
Yeah. No?
Moosebot.
Yeah.
Moose spot.
Nope.
What it means? It's an English word.
No.
So it's a translation. It's a German word. It's technically two German words that I've combined to make a last name.
Peter.
No.
Griffin.
Think about it. What was his character?
Musbat.
What was his character?
She was a gnome druid.
Tree bark.
The wheels are turning. The wheels are turning.
Musbat.
Is that something with my character?
Gnome druid.
What sounds like Musbat? Anybody?
A gnome druid.
Mossbeard.
There's Mossbeard.
Mus is moss and bat is
I
beard.
didn't think of the last name. I was like, Sherwood doesn't make any sense.
So she's a German mossbeard.
Yeah.
One of the
the distant relatives
Yeah.
of Sherwood.
Not in my canon.
Not my canon.
Not in the real canon. You didn't discuss that with me. This is my son, Sherwood.
No, I would think like old relative. You know what I mean? Like
Old aunt.
Yeah.
like you're an ancestor.
My ancestor.
No,
Ooh.
you're the ancestor.
Oh, I'm the ancestor.
Yeah, Hannelore is part of one of the because after Sherwood, everyone wanted to be a Mossbeard. It was like the greatest
Well, you did have a son.
gnome
I did have a
druids
son.
in the land. So
You had a son named Reed.
And when
Yep.
they came out of the magic realm,
REED.
REED
Yep.
to make it nature themed.
5
Ooh,
generations.
5.
Good for him.
That's like 110 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're like the Father Abraham of
That's awesome.
gnome druids.
That's cool.
Sherwood Mossbeard had many sons.
Most.
Many sons
Mossbeard.
had
Most-
Sherwood Mossbeard.
All right.
But how'd
so,
you get a German last name?
It's a good question.
Well, maybe
It's like a game of telephone.
no. It's like
What was it? Mossbeard? Like Mossbeard.
it's like maybe your family emigrated to a different country and eventually, and kind of like Ellis Island, they just gave you a different last name.
Like some people with like a really heavy like Ukrainian name just call themselves Steve.
Yeah, my grandpa's last name in Greece was Dermondopoulos,
Mhm.
and when his parents got to America,
They're like, what is it?
they shortened it just to Dermont.
We'll take the first part.
Yeah, I'd be like,
They're like that's not it.
too ethnic for America. We'll cut off the last part. We'll let you come in, but we're gonna cut off the last part.
I wonder what that is. Is it more just because they just want to avoid the hard people having trouble saying the last name?
I don't know.
Or is it that they want to feel more like part of the?
It's a power trip by
country.
Port Authority. Let's be honest.
Is it really?
I'm sure.
Sure wasn't great.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 10 people here. We'll continue, I guess. First of all, I apologize for the issues if there were any. There obviously were. But we'll continue.
We don't know that. There's prove it, Reed.
I could hear us the whole time.
Yeah.
We'll continue with the question and answer part. Michelle, that seems like a new name in the chat, and John Lewis as well. So I don't know if you guys are new, but welcome. Yeah, can we get a call out post to YouTube, please, for changing their live stream platform for literally no reason?
Thanks, YouTube.
You don't like it?
No, they just got rid of it. This is a different version of their platform.
Really?
Yeah, they just full on got rid of it.
Well,
They got rid of Hangouts.
Weird.
Yeah, I remember reading about
Yeah. So this is the exact same thing as Hangouts, but it's a totally different process of setting up the stream. And so it's just kind of weird. Anywho, this is from Catherine. Catherine, first timer.
Welcome.
First time, long time.
Question: how many of y'all knew that Adaptive Innovations was run by an AI before the big reveal at the end of the season?
We all knew. All of us understood.
Yeah.
Reed's not very good at hiding
No,
secrets.
Easy. Every time I
Yeah.
hear him, like, oh yeah, I got it.
See that face?
Oh
That face is like a book you can read.
yeah. His stuff is so just surface level. I get it every time.
Come on. Anybody? A
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
No.
you can
Oh,
read?
No, I had no idea.
Kill this character next time.
No, it's one of those things where I feel like if you were watching, if someone was saying it in a movie, it would be super obvious. But because they're thinking in character, trying to remember the rules of the game, I think it's just I could have pretty much said
Decisive.
everything but, and they just would have been like, "What? I totally missed that."
Yeah,
Hey, we're just trying to survive.
we weren't anywhere near close guessing that. Yeah.
It's like a Suicide Squad.
Yeah, like a Suicide Squad.
Wow, we are kind of like a Suicide Squad, aren't we?
Dun, dun, dun.
First time in the chat, but Princess Cat on Twitter has been a fan for a long time. Oh, thank you, Princess Cat. Appreciate that. Question: how have the new mechanical changes to the classes played so far? So the episode that just released 2 days ago, which, by the way, if you have not listened to that episode, you might want to push pause on this. We are fully accepting episode 1 of season 2 discussion. So again, if you haven't listened, maybe take a step back. I'm not telling you have to, because I'm not dictating the questions that come in. But we will talk about it if people ask questions. So episode 1, the premiere has more combat than any of the other episodes so far. So in terms of the combat changes that have happened between seasons, we haven't seen a lot of them in play quite yet.
It's got a filter.
But I think it's nice that both Mike and T feel like they're in a place that like a class. So I think like their character motivations are the same, but now they have extra things they can think about outside of like combat or things like that. So I think good, but we won't have a really good test until a few more episodes, I think.
Kels was way more engaged in,
I agree.
in the combat this season than any combat last
agree.
season.
This is from Matthew. Question: Would Dolan have recognized Ethan or Ethan's hat if he saw him in Spacies?
Who's Dolan?
Dolan is the guy that you met at Spacies. He has like the burned face. And he told you about the hive mind.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the cowboy.
Yeah, the cowboy.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think so.
What would the connection be?
I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe he knew the real Ethan Cole.
Oh, I get it. I think I know. I think I know what they're insinuating. Question: What happened when Chip drinks a big gulp? Chip can consume like Bender from Futurama.
Just it opens and then stuff goes in.
Yeah, I mean, like In Futurama, robots drink alcohol to power their fuel cells. In our game, they drink just for, I think, like the social cue.
Mm. Also, like in Back to the Future, they use trash
Yeah. I was
to
just thinking that.
power.
Yep.
I was
Power
just
the car.
thinking that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you just put stuff in and then use it as bio waste.
I don't think anything like wrong or bad would happen. I just think it would just pass through them,
Like Casper.
like Casper.
Just straight through.
That's a sick Devon Sawa reference.
We were watching it today.
You all are too young to know who Devon Sawa
Shout out
is.
Devon Sawa.
Question: Danny was acting. Question: Danny was acting as Jasper in Volume. Are you having a stroke, Girdlestone?
Just read it the way it's written.
Okay, I'm not going to try and interpret this. Question: Danny was acting as Jasper in Volume in Good Practice for Ethan in Volume 2. Go.
You get the gist of that.
Let me think.
You
about
get the
that.
essence
I
of
think
that.
it's like, did you enjoy Jasper more
Was
than?
acting like Jasper?
Take it for what it is, Dan.
I'm trying to.
Say it.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
100%. You
got it.
Yes.
You got it.
Nailed it.
This one from John Lewis. Question: Do robots use the bathroom? I'll defer to the expert.
These people really want to figure robots out.
Yeah, a lot of robot questions today. I'm not mad about it. Just an observation.
Yeah.
It goes straight through 'em.
Chip, no.
I bet there are some robots that use the bathroom depending on their purpose.
Is there any kind of like grease that exerts from a robot when they've been doing a lot of hard work?
No.
Like that Hawaiian shirt will eventually get pit stains
Nope.
or back stains or neck stains?
No.
Or like a car, if you don't change the oil, it drips eventually.
I think Chip would be the kind of, and again, I don't want to speak for you, but I think Chip
Okay.
would be the kind of robot that would like manually apply pit stains
Oh, yeah.
to make himself look like he's worked harder.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
grease up
But not
the...
to like fake people out, just to like sell the image. I think.
What do you think?
really
What do you think, Mike?
Has never crossed my
Like
mind.
paint on a beard kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
Like
Doesn't he already have like a mustache?
It's like a plate, like a.
It's like welded on.
it's welded on.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a mustache.
It's respectful. Come on, guys. And paint it on there like 2-year-old child.
This question's from Michelle. What up, Michelle? Back at you. Been listening for the past year, volume 1 in 2 months. That's a lot of episodes in a short amount of time.
Yeesh.
Love what you all are doing. Thank you. Question: How do you think ship crew dynamic is going to be affected by the personality changes of Chip and Lucky? That's a great question.
Better.
You think so?
More friendly, welcoming environment.
It'll be different. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It feels like we're playing a whole new game,
Yes.
which is fun.
But like you guys took role reversal a little bit. Like Chip was always like the serious, like knew what he was about kind of thing, and now he's kind of more carefree and loose, whereas you are more singularly, not focused, but more singularly like you're like
I feel like he has a shorter trigger. Like,
short
I think
fuse,
that's
yeah.
he's living on a hair trigger between like
Living on the
totally disconnected emotionally and like an erupting volcano.
yeah.
One of the things I really like about this season is I feel like last season there really wasn't a whole lot of character tension. Like
Right.
we all kind of had our own agendas and none of them really necessarily fought with each other. And so we mostly just went through stuff without ever really agreeing on how to approach a problem or, you know what I mean? It was really just kind of, and so the tension came more from just like how we had to deal with any given situation
Right.
in general. Whereas I feel like this season, there's so much tension between the characters. Like the one person that T thought like was her like super like relatable friend is now a wild, is now more wild and like a human than before.
Yeah.
And Ethan and Lucky, who probably were getting along fairly well the first season, are now almost like at very strong odds. And so there's this. I feel like there's a lot of like fun. To me, that's where we have a lot of fun,
Yeah.
like exploring the characters and like seeing what happens when, the problems aren't even as much of the focus as it is like the characters. You know what I mean? Which I think is what's made it really fun.
Yeah.
Like the problems are just settings to explore how the characters will interact. Do you know, like,
Oh, dude.
does that make sense?
No, I'm the happiest person in the world that you would say that. Like,
do you guys agree? Like, is that kind of, am I?
that is 100% what I was going for season 2.
Cool.
Is I've said this in previous live streams. I've said this in other avenues, but my goal with season 2 was to take the heroes who have just recently had such a huge catastrophic change, put them in a more permanent environment, but have that environment force them to confront those changes. And so the fact that you think, that the tension comes from characters' decisions in those moments, that speaks. That makes me very happy.
I feel like Mike, you ran into this season 1 with Milo, where there were things you maybe wanted your character to do, but the character wouldn't let you. Like you kind of were like no, like this is what he has to do. Like it's like I want him to be Sherwood in this moment. I wanted to like just throw something off a cliff, but I know that that's not what the character would do. So you kind of there's a moment where your character becomes big enough that it kind of takes the story from you. And those are really fun moments. And I've already experienced, I feel like with where Lucky's at, a couple of those moments where I'm like, like I want to do this other thing, but I can't like render him away from where the character's like it is.
Well, in those moments, the moment too in volume 1 where like I go back to when Lucky gave away, or where Gray gave away his hammer.
Yeah.
I was like, in that moment, I was super shocked that you did it. And I think you probably were a little bit as well.
I wanted all the like the gamer in me was like collect the hammers.
But like, I think you were just like, no, this is what Greg would do right now.
Yeah,
which that's cool. That's good. That's dedication. Excellent question, Michelle. That was very good. Amelia, question: will you be posting the Hoover panels y'all recorded soon?
How do those sound?
Not great. They don't sound great. I've listened to a couple of them. There were some that I think sound better than others and have a chance. But to be perfectly honest, swinging into into season 2, spending a ton of time on the Brax history and Danny's character episode just didn't allow me enough, like, the time to properly dive in and get those sounding the way I want them to. So I would say, like, expect to hear at least a couple of them, but I would be surprised if I released all of them. Some of them just do not sound good, like unlistenable.
It was like pretty much just like set the zoom down on the table and.
Yeah, and honestly, those are the ones where it sounds the best.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like the one where it was
was it the space, like whatever room we were in? That like...
It made a huge difference. Yep, made a huge difference. Is the stream being funky for anyone else? If the stream is being funky, I apologize. I show that I have really good Wi-Fi up here. I'm not doing anything, like nothing's buffering on my phone, so I apologize. Question: several eye augments have been mentioned. What kind did Lucky get?
He got a. It's I can't remember the technical term, but it's a heat recognition.
Yeah, just a thermal vision.
Yeah, thermal vision. Yeah, like the Predator from Predator.
Like Predator, which makes it. You even have dreads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Think about it.
Okay.
Hear me, do it now.
What
are you waiting for?
Someone translated Girdle's question. Danny was acting as Jasper. Are a bit similar.
Who was Jasper?
Jasper was the guy you pretended to be when you were riding with the Pineapple Gang, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
That was like in the 30s.
Yeah, that was like
volume 1.
That was when you got captured. I think.
Yeah.
Am I right to think that? Like, it's
I do remember that.
yeah.
What on
you're
earth?
like, my name's Jasper.
Yeah. Didn't even cross my mind.
I've
got like a lot of character voices floating around in my head,
dude,
and usually like 3 or 4 of them are pretty similar to one another. So
I didn't realize how much range you had. Like with the character episode we did for Ethan.
Yeah.
Like when you were doing those different voices for characters, I was like, holy moly! Like you got some stuff just like hanging out in the wings there.
I've got 2 for some extra characters.
Oh, stop. Dan.
Can we get a taste?
You know, he just texts me randomly.
Can we get a taste of one?
He just texts me sometimes and be like, "Oh, I came up with a really good character. So if you ever want to kill Ethan, I don't." I
I'm
don't.
just saying, there's some really good stuff.
No.
Some fun stuff in there.
No.
He did an old man one in the character episode.
It's the
time
for
yeah. That was funny.
It's like a slow Bernie Sanders.
This from Brandon. Question: Reed, what system updates for season 2 are you most excited about? Definitely the scrap mechanic.
Yes.
I don't know for sure. Like I said, we haven't done a lot of combat yet. This has been a lot of introspective kind of opportunities for discovery. So not a lot of no combat. Honestly, I'll be forthcoming with you guys. But when that happens, I'm really curious to see how Kelsey like chooses what to use and what to like when to build something in the moment. So that'll be fun. Alyssa says, I freaking love new Chip. So well done. She liked
Same.
old Chip too, but new Chip is like peak chaotic Mike.
Yes.
Question from Girdle, who I think has finally come down. He got his meds. How many of you have held Josh's hand? I think all of us.
Yeah.
All of us.
That was more shaking than holding, but okay.
I have Danny check.
I felt the same.
Girdle has Danny's checking his grammar now. Good.
I have a question for Mike.
Ooh, fire away.
When you're talking as Chip,
Mm-hmm.
have you planned any of that, or are you literally just like total improving it and letting whatever's at the top of your mind like run your voice?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't plan that stuff? You're not driving around thinking like, I'm gonna go on a thing about like this or that. It's totally in the moment. That's amazing.
My favorite moment from the from the premiere on Friday is when you're talking to T and Ethan tells you that like something bad has happened to Lucky, and you get all like worked up and you're like, what, was it Ethan? Oh, he's so shady. That's like I was dying. I listened to it like 3 times and I was just dying every time. I love that moment.
I still love the whole like, hey, I could kill him. I could kill you.
Yeah. You're so weird. That's super funny. Question from Amelia. Do we have to wait for season breaks for every character episode, history, lore, dump? Seems like it would be a long time before they'd all drop.
Yeah, Reed.
So
Yeah. Must go faster. Must go
Do you have a full-time job or what?
here's by my math. Again, I'm not saying we'll do this many episodes, but if we use volume 1 as a benchmark, 156,
Yeesh.
that takes us. That would be 88 plus 110, 100.
Like 3 years.
132. That's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 6 seasons at 22 episodes, which means there are only 7 playable races and classes and only 4 actual people playing. So I think we'd be able to accommodate all of the stuff if we just if we did as many episodes. I'm not committing to that, but I think like the pacing is there if we were to do that. If not, we'll definitely get all 4 character episodes done. That's a no-brainer. But then we'll figure out a different way to deliver the histories and stuff. So
those things are getting me like super excited for the game system content. Like when at least like the lore. When we went through the Brax episode, I kept thinking like, oh, all these other like Brax characters I want to make now, like these other like characters like I think would be super fun to play.
Yeah.
It gets me excited for like that content in the future.
Yeah.
This question from Ellen. How caught up are we? About 4 minutes behind. Question: is every volume going to involve Josh's character getting kidnapped while the rest of the party debates whether or not to do anything
Oh,
about it?
that would be so great.
That's our Apple cigarettes. What was the Tarantino cigarette brand?
Yeah.
Red Apple cigarettes or something?
Red
like
Apple,
that.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So that's our Red Apple cigarette. I don't know. Every director has that thing, like Shyamalan and The Twist. For us, it's just Josh's character gets kidnapped and people don't
further
care.
Augmented.
Yeah. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh.
I mean, I feel like it was like my fault the first time. You know what I mean? Like it was like
I agree.
Like it was my fault the first time. This time
You did charge into the ship.
it wasn't my fault that I got captured though. Reed, they were gonna take me.
That's true.
They were like 7
Well,
or 8 of them.
no. So here's the thing. Like, This is why
everyone would have come together.
This is
fought
why I was so
them.
frustrated in episode 21 because I had it like mapped out that you guys would fight. I ultimately, like in my brain, I thought to myself the way the fight would work. Eventually, like the numbers will just get to them and they'll have to bail and then they'll take you. I didn't expect them just to willingly be like, deuces, we out, like have fun getting murdered.
Yeah.
So I think that was like.
I don't know. Greg got
I
captured.
expected a fight though.
Greg got captured all the time in Volume 1.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just became like part of who he was.
That was like that was just like the meme.
I could literally. I think it's like at least 5 times by 5 different groups.
Yeah.
Was like put in a cell or locked up. The fish people.
Yeah.
The like Arlen. The pineapple gang.
Yep.
There
was a group. I believe. You remember when you met that weird druid? He was like, you guys were like walking down a dried up riverbank, and there was a druid that. This is in Volume 1, where he was like an eagle or a hawk or something flying above you.
Oh yeah.
And like Milo, I think, found him or something like that, or Milo was like hiding, pretending to be a bush. Like someone, you guys will know it.
I was close to the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I thought Josh was captured right before that.
Wasn't that right before we went to Kyo's home city?
Yes, so, I think so. It was right before the Death Knight.
Yeah.
It was right before the Death Knight.
Was that when I was in Dumbbrain?
Yeah, yes. You had Feeble Mind cast on you.
Yes.
Accidentally, because he shouldn't have been able to. I get it, chat.
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made all the time. And you guys were like, yeah, we want World Book for Volume 1. That Volume 1 was a crap show. Oh my gosh. It's
trash, dog.
It was all over the place.
We'll come back at it at our like centennial or something.
Yeah, we'll just loop back around.
Yeah.
We
We got 6 years.
Question from John Lewis. Is Chaotic Mike an official alignment in the new system? I think so.
Chaotic Mike.
Yeah.
We should name the alignments like people names.
Dude, that'd be funny.
And just make like neutral Randy. Like just like
ooh, just
like,
Randy.
Nobody likes a Randy.
What? The chill plague of death? How dare you? No, I'm
kidding. All the Randys out there, I'm sorry.
We should call the game system Chaotic Mike.
Oh, yes.
Where are you at on the scale?
That's the tagline. Where are you at on the scale?
No one goes full Mike.
No, you never go full Mike.
The marketing is going to be terrible.
Yeah,
what is this?
Not marketable at all.
No, what's this?
It appeals to
it could
4
be like
people.
You with different hairstyles.
The one with the mustache. That's full Chaotic Mike.
Mustache, long hair,
and an eye patch like evil Morty.
There we go.
As a semi-driver, I listen to the podcast to keep my mind alert. So that's super cool. I'm glad that we can join you on your journey. I've worked with a lot of truck drivers in my day because I used to run a warehouse, and so I've worked with a lot of truck drivers. They're the unsung heroes of America. That's apart from veterans.
I was going to say this. Wow!
I said unsung. Veterans get a lot of attention. Not enough, but a lot.
And working moms.
And Papa John's driver.
So okay, let's rank them. Ranking them from the top. We have veterans,
Papa John's drivers,
truck drivers, and working moms, all the way at the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out to our working moms.
Now, if your job as a working mom is a truck driver,
and you eat Papa John's, and you're a vet.
What if you're a truck driver who delivers Papa John's ingredients to the stores? That's like,
think about it.
And you served in the military.
Oh!
I got to salute you right now.
Yeah, we'll just stand. The next 5
Pillows will drop.
Next 5 minutes of silence will just be devoted to those people. Okay.
Sorry, Chad.
Sorry. Yeah, we're terrible
We're
people.
bad. Where's Kelsey at?
They're a gosh darn American icon.
This is from Melly. Question, Josh, what are some tips on self-teaching? I have so many things I want to learn, but find myself lacking motivation, and your energy to learn is super inspiring.
Couple things. Self-teaching. I don't know. You have to want to do it. Like there's really, I honestly like my self-teaching happens more out of my interest than it does out of my discipline, if that makes sense. Like, I honestly get all the important life work done first. Like, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, mow the lawn, you know what I mean? Take a shower, do your homework or whatever you've got to do. Get all the stuff that you need to get done first. And then when your brain is like later, when it's like when it typically it would be hard to do like work, let your interest drive your learning. Like that's what I like, because in those moments I can stop. I like when I'm trying to do like my job, when I work on like a video or something like that. If I'm doing it between the hours of 9 to 12, chances are it's going to be not very good work because I'm tired and it's hard to focus. But if I'm learning in those hours, like if I'm researching, reading, or like trying to just like build up a new skill set, I don't feel tired. You know what I mean? The interest drives my progress. So, also, if you have ADHD, get diagnosed with it properly and see if there are any way you can deal with it legitimately. Like, ADHD keeps you from really seeing anything but the immediate present, and so learning and like strategic learning is kind of hard. Pick one thing. Here's what I'll say. Last thing. Pick one thing and say, I'm just going to work on learning more about this for the next 6 months. And whenever something else comes up, put a pin in it. But just do that one thing. Just go, I'm just going to learn about this one thing for 6 months.
Sometimes it's good just to see something through to completion, too.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of vindication and satisfaction knowing, like, you know what? I suck at this thing, but I gave it my best shot and I saw it through, you know, like. Yeah,
being willing to like to go like, okay, like this isn't something I'm going to really be interested in any further, and dropping it is okay. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I also think that the ability to go back to zero in a skill set is really, and honestly, one of the best skills you can teach yourself in life is developing a skill and then going back to zero and developing another skill. Like, learning to accustom yourself to change and learning new stuff, so valuable. So I don't know if any of that helps. Mm-hmm. These things have been on my mind a lot lately, though. Yeah. So you're
just speaking from the heart, you know.
Just dumping. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to help everybody, but you know, they asked you an honest question.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was Varn. That druid's name was Varn. Yeah, he was one of the Patreon characters.
Oh, the dwarf druid.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That one.
Yes. He was awesome. You remember him?
Yes.
Okay.
Question: are dogs in space spogs? No, they're just dogs.
Digs. Spogs is a game that children play.
Yeah. Question: as an artist, this will sound pretentious. All artists are pretentious. No offense. I'm just kidding. I don't actually.
I mean, I just waxed on how to self-teach.
Yeah, but I swear it's not, and I've wanted to ask for a long time. Has there been any fan art that's influenced how you see your characters or things in game?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you guys like picture your characters a certain way because of how you saw someone interpret it?
No.
No, really?
Sedgepan. I know I'm not saying his name right. He did, and Alyssa noted this first. With his art, I noticed something, and she was like, "Oh, I'm doing that in all of my art of Greg." But he took Greg's eyebrows and fed them into the hairline.
Oh, interesting.
It was really cool. Like, they're big bushy eyebrows that just go back into the hair, and I was like, "Oh, I like that a lot." And so, yeah, that.
I'm pretty sure like everything Sagepan has ever done for us is like unofficial official canon.
It just looks so good.
His work is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it came so early too. I think that's part of it. He drew Greg and some other pieces super early.
He did a portrait of each of our main characters, like in the first couple months.
I would say before the 12th episode even came out.
Yeah.
He tweeted us with some fan art. And it was just like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Question: are there bionic animals? I would say definitely bionic animals.
Ooh.
I think there are going to be people who want a robo puppy or something that they get all the companionship they want out of a pet without the potty training and like mortality of a pet. So
enjoy our Robo Dog. It will outlive you.
Yeah. You want your kids to outlive you, though. That's
Yeah.
for a lot of people, like before they have kids, or maybe even with kids, like their pets are their kids for a while.
I like the idea of my dog dying before I die, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I don't like the idea of my dog being alive with me not being around.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
What if the robo pet becomes your biological?
You mean your Echo?
Yes.
Oh, pass.
We'll put a pin in it.
Let's come back to that one.
Yeah.
Question. This is from Girdle. What are your thoughts on the Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings shows that are coming out?
I'm excited for the Wheel of Time. I know so little about the Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, not much has been announced for the Lord of the Rings show, I feel like. The
Wheel of Time is so old, there's going to be so many people that see it coming out and won't even know that it was a book.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I'm optimistic for both, but
it's hard because now we know what Lord of the Rings is when it's bad.
right.
You know what I mean? So that's, if it was like Marvel movies where it's like even the bad ones are still super fun to watch. Like, but we've seen that lore and that world like just garbaged.
But
so
in a similar vein, we've seen great Star Wars sullied by terrible Star Wars, and then like the flip side is good Star Wars again.
yeah, I'm actually really excited for Episode 9.
I think Episode 9 has a lot of potential. I think Episode 8 and Solo were trash fires though, so like we're getting this fun little like binary like on and off type of thing where it's like Episode 7 super good, Rogue One super good, Episode 8 absolute dumpster fire, Solo just even somehow worse.
Kelsey told me that they're coming out with Ewan McGregor's going to do a Obi-Wan thing on
Series.
Disney
He's
Plus
doing a
or whatever.
series, yeah.
So I was like, okay, well we're getting that.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear.
Did you see that Mandalorian trailer though?
No.
That Mandalorian trailer is dope. It has
Really?
Werner Herzog in it.
Mm-hmm.
Werner Herzog, who says it's hot out there for a bounty hunter. And I was just like, yes.
Did you see the Mandalorian trailer overlaid with the music from the Cats trailer, though?
Rum Tum Tugger.
Have you guys seen the Full House with all the faces
Yeah.
being Ron
I've
Swanson?
seen that.
I love that.
So I'd like to put a definitive to your question, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
A bunch of people are responding to your comments, Josh, about self-learning. That's great. Girdle, question: can we get a 4-person co-op stream of Josh, Mike, Danny, and Reed on the new Borderlands game? I think you get 3. Like the 3 of us are going to play together for sure.
I'm just gonna keep playing Minecraft.
So he'll just keep playing Minecraft, but you could do that.
Yep.
You guys should stream though. That would be so much fun to watch.
I think Danny and I I'm taking the 13th off of work.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna load it at midnight, play it at midnight for as long as I can.
Are you streaming that?
I'll stream, yeah.
You're not gonna play on stream? You're gonna stay off it?
I'm gonna play with Reed.
Yeah.
But now we're playing with other people, and it won't be just us.
Well, why not?
He
Just
knows-
There'll
forget
be
about
people
him.
watching.
He
No,
knows.
just forget
He
about
knows
it.
that Reed.
And I'm like,
He's
hey,
such a
hey
terrible
Reed,
guy.
this is kind of cool. And you're like, anyways, Pog's in the chat. And I'm like, yeah, this is. I'm having.
I
fun
do
with
say
it.
Pogs in the chat.
Yeah, Pog's in the chat. F's in the chat. Feels bad, man.
Pogs in the chat.
Yeah, Pog champ.
Pog chat.
I'm disconnected.
I would very much like to play Borderlands. I'm looking forward to that game. We all want to play Flak, though.
Oh yeah, gotcha. I was like, is that another game?
No. We all want to play the character.
We all want to
Flak.
play the Beastmaster.
Flak, voiced by ProZD, who I love, who's one of my favorite YouTubers.
Yeah, none of the other characters. I just looked at them.
Dude, what about the 8-armed gal? That looked really cool.
She would probably
Amara?
be my second.
She is my
That's who
second.
I would play. Yeah,
Dan,
yeah.
do you have a second?
So she's a siren. I'll play her since you're playing Flak.
Okay, you can't play any of those.
Yeah, you
have
can't
to
play Amara.
Diva.
You can't play Flak.
You have to
I
play
want the
Diva.
mech person.
Yes, Diva.
How did? Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Pogs in the chat.
Yeah,
Let's
some
get
Pogs?
let's get some fan art with all their faces replaced with these 3 guys.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
put me on Beast.
Thumbnail.
Okay. An actual question.
I want to
up.
see Reed's
Shut
face
up.
on the gal.
Shut up, you. This question is from Alex. Alex Mellon. Thank you, Alex, for an actual question and for getting us back on track.
Thank you.
Question:
What are we doing here?
What sorts of details differentiate subraces like the Brax? Are they flavor or number based? Both. So the way I picture it is, obviously we don't have a lot of official art for anything yet, but the way I picture it, you're going to notice different, like a Sade would be able to spot like a Daglar, or
Like the color of their color of their skin or something.
I'd say just like how they're dressed.
Okay.
And I think like over time, especially for the couple hundred years where the Brax were like dominating other planets, I think you would probably even notice some like biological changes, like just their bodies naturally acclimatizing to different atmospheres and different gravities.
The fish race.
The Carrions.
Are each of their sub races based on a different fish?
No, I actually hadn't considered that, but the fish race is the most diverse looking race. Like some of them look like catfish, some of them look like hammerhead sharks.
I still want a beta fish that has
some of them look like beta fish. Like so that's a super diverse visually looking race. But all of them, like I try and enforce all of my like number decisions on a story decision. So if you look at the Brax sub races, like the Gaul, which is the sigil of the sea, they're going to be, I think they have a +1 to intelligence, or like a +2 to intelligence, and like a -1 to strength, because that's never been their thing. And they're all going to kind of enforce those ideas of like, I live off the land, or I'm a combat-based sigil, or it's things like that.
But you haven't done a lot of like visual, like how like
no.
These ones, like these Brax have shorter dreadlocks, or these ones are more this shade.
No, I haven't. Legit,
like dark elves and high elves and wood elves.
When the world book comes out, I plan on fleshing all of that stuff out a lot to like really give the players a good idea of not only what they look like visually, but how they behave and how you could expect a character of any different subrace to behave in a certain situation. Gotcha. So that's the goal. Obviously, that's just a lot more writing, but since that's purely flavor for people that won't read it for a couple years, I'm not like devoting a bunch of time to it right now.
You could probably also just like let Adam loose with some of that. Be like, here's the flavor. How do you think it would look different?
If you want to know, to go back to your question of like, has any fan art ever inspired like your visual identity as the character? Almost everything our actual artist Adam Kovar has done has inspired me and like greatly. I know like Josh looks at Lucky as if he is the Brax from that.
Yeah, that image is Lucky to me. Just so everyone knows, like that the Brax image there, not the one in the jacket, not the Templar, but the one that's kind of just displayed as the regular
with no shirt.
And the sleeve on the arm. That's kind of how I view Lucky.
Yeah. So Adam Kovar,
he also did a specific Lucky piece.
He did.
He did the stretching sober up,
sober up. Yeah. So I think that guy so fully understands like what it is I'm going for visually, that whenever he'll send me just concept art that I'm commissioning from him, and just like I told him to go crazy with monster ideas. I said I just want to see different aliens and different monsters in the game, and he sent me a list of like 15 or something.
It's a big page.
It's just a huge page with a bunch of different sketches on them, and I've already incorporated some of them into season 2. I might even turn one into a full-fledged like playable race if like as a Kickstarter reward. Like I'm like his work is so influencing. Have like the art and the story come together like that. Everyone wants Chip to get a Robo Pet.
Okay.
Mike, if Chip had a Robo Pet, what would it be?
Monkey.
Give us some options.
Robo Monkey.
It'd be cool to have a robot snake.
Yeah.
Like the wooden ones, you know? Where you're like...
Could you imagine like Chip rolling in with like a robot bionic snake like around his over his shoulders? That's tough.
What kind of
it's
snake?
Like Jake the Snake.
Would it be one of the ones with like those triangle heads, or one of those really thin ones with the round head, or one of the ones that can flap out its neck?
Like a cobra?
Like a cobra.
No, like a boa constrictor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like the one from the Britney Spears video.
Yeah. They got the triangle head, I think.
Sure. What if it looked like a boa?
Like a feathered boa?
Like a feathered boa.
But it was a real snake.
And then he could like issue a command and it would slither down him.
I mean, I'm about it.
Okay. I mean, that'd be sweet.
Mike's like, don't do my character, guys.
Yes.
Let's go.
That can be one of your other characters.
I'm about it.
Daniel.
This from Amelia. Question, Volume 1 question. I've been re-listening. I'm curious, how did Diane teleport? What technically was her class? She could disappear in a cloud of smoke. Diane was Danon's daughter.
Who's daughter? Oh, yeah, Diane. Oh.
Does he still
I
count
when
like
I
that?
wrote that,
Yeah.
I figured it was like celestial, some kind of because she was tied to what's his name, the big bad guy, Balasar.
Balasar.
Yeah, I don't know. I just did that because I assumed it was because I said a flash of light. I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it was some like dark deal, similar type of thing where not like she was a warlock or anything like that, but I think she was just given certain powers as being
Ooh.
other powers not native to Brannis.
What if she was like one of those? What are they called? The Asmer, like what? Because they're it's actually a race in
You're
D&D
right.
that like make a deal with a celestial being.
Oh right,
And
yeah,
so
they're like the
they-
warlocks of space.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, honestly,
they can sprout wings. That's the only reason that I
honestly that was just more of like a thematic thing.
Yeah.
Just
I just wanted him to be alone when he died. That
Yep.
was the
Michelle says
The
time
reason
for
I
round
did
3 of
that.
D&D this week. It's so nice to see everyone. Bye, Michelle. Glad you could hang out. This is from Catherine. Question: Is Lucky a new class now that he's bionic? Does this contrast the balance too much for him to be a Templar to his god? I would say I don't think so, just because
no,
of like
she wouldn't mind.
I don't think
his like
Aurelia
naturalist perspective is not. I don't think is part of the Aurelia's following.
Yeah.
I think that's more of just a Lucky interpretation.
minds. Sure. Well, and like I think of it this way too: of like there can be multiple people who follow the same deity but hold different beliefs on like personal issues. Like just today there will be like you can agree with someone philosophically, but they like one chooses to be a vegan and one chooses not to. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean that you guys all of a sudden disagree on like some core philosophical beliefs,
Yeah.
but you just like live different
Yeah.
lives in that regard.
Yeah, like there are some people who value animal life, and so they think that it should never be harmed.
Right.
And there's some people who value animal life, and they think that that means actively making sure that populations are controlled, and you know what I mean. Like,
Right.
So the way that value fleshes itself out is different for each, even though they might actually like consider each other like diametrically opposed.
That's a good way to put it. Brandon asked question. Mike and Dan, did you like your Perler beat art that we got? From,
Oh yeah.
got from Hoover.
Super awesome.
Those were amazing.
Yeah.
So the colors were like
I know.
beautiful.
This,
I gotta show those to Adam. I don't know if he's seen them.
Oh yeah, we should snap some
Yeah.
photos. This is a question from Alex, and this is a good question. Not that any of the others weren't, but I've never considered this. Reed, would you allow a TPK at this point if it happens? That
Total party kill.
is always the challenge of playing D&D, the randomness of D&D, but in the format of like I'm trying to tell a serialized story.
Would you ever flirt with throwing something at us that would cause a TPK, or would it be a colossal failure of dice rolls on our part?
I think
That's a good question.
two like
Wow.
both would have to happen.
Wow.
I think like well when I had you guys go through Melis's Temple in Volume 1, that I knew was a potential TPK opportunity. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be flippant. Like I wasn't just going to put you guys in an unwinnable situation. I really wanted to make sure that the roles drove the story and drove the result. So I think it would have to be something similar. I would want to make very clear through illusion or some other form of storytelling that whatever they're about to encounter is incredibly dangerous. And then if they pursue that and the roles are bad enough, I would probably allow it. Because like we kind of joked around about this at the end of Volume 1, like what would have happened if the entire party would have died by some random calamity. And we joked that like Sylvana had other heroes in the wings in case things didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I think like,
And you definitely could have, may have killed Ethan and Lucky
yeah,
with that terrible landing.
yeah. Oh yeah, I was not gonna shy away from that because I made Ethan very clear that he's not a pilot, but he still wanted to try. I said, okay, cool. So we're on the same page.
Nat 20 though.
Yeah, and so like again, I let the dice drive the outcome rather than like try to force something that I had that I'd wanted to see rather than just let the randomness aside. I think at this point I would allow a TPK because while the story that I'm trying to tell, like the galactic story, is I think I'm trying to make it personal to each of the players. It doesn't require these specific 4 characters to see through.
It's not like Destiny driven like the last volume.
Yeah. So that's a good question, though. I always enjoy TPK questions. Question, Josh and Reed, even though Reed's not technically editing Sneak Attack anymore, what's your general process when editing episodes? What do you do first? How do you decide what to keep?
Reed is, just to clarify, Reed is kind of technically still editing Sneak Attack. He just doesn't do the first pass.
Right, and that's the first step.
Yes. So, like, I would say that's usually only half the time. Sometimes a quarter, a third of the time. So, he's still doing quite a bit.
So, I think Josh and I's workflow is pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
What we do is we listen to the unedited episode and cut back on dead air, things that don't contribute to the episode, looking at notes or rules, or just like whatever we need to trim down to make it feel tight. The way that Josh kind of set this standard for Sneak Attack early on is like you'll notice when we roll initiatives. This is when I notice it the most. Everyone is just like blitzing out initiative scores. Like I'll ask, "What's your initiative?" and it'll just be like, "Boom, boom, boom, boom." Have you ever played a game of D&D in your life ever where everyone has their initiative scores ready at the same time, like and can repeat them in a matter like in 2 seconds? It takes like 30 seconds for DMs to write down initiative scores because they're also writing down initiatives for all the monsters and stuff like that. But that to me is always like the most refreshing thing about the podcast medium is you have the opportunity to trim the fat, to trim the worst parts of playing D&D, which is all the waiting. And so you just get the tightest, most cohesive, but still story-focused version of the game. And that's first pass, like just getting the edit down to what it needs to be. And then how do you like take it from there?
Then after that, it's just a matter of how much you want to add. I like to think of it as like it's 3 layers of additional like editing. And some people could just view it as 1, but you have ambient sounds, room noise, any kind of like if like we're in a ship, the hum of the ship, the beeps of buttons or anything, the swoosh of a door. Then you have the swoosh of a door would probably be more sound effects. So then it's like active things that are either being used or interacted with, pew, pew. Weapons, guns, and then to me like the deeper level, which I think is where I feel like those ones are really easy to add on because you're pretty much just going here to here, there when that happened,
right.
All that. It's almost like just filling in the blanks, like coloring inside the lines. The stuff that I think takes extra time are musical elements.
Yeah.
If you want to set a mood for a moment or make something feel more intense, like deciding whether or not to add music, like can create a good like 2 to 3 extra hours depending on how many moments are in an episode. Yeah. And Reed's done something really cool with Volume 2 where, and I don't know, you don't do this all the time, but areas have music, like just like it's like part of the environment.
Yep.
And then when we move away from the environment, the music kind of fades.
Yeah, that's really tough. That's really tough.
Yeah.
I have a totally new appreciation for sound editors for movies. Like if there's ever characters that are like having a conversation in a bar and there's like country music playing in the background or like people playing pool. Because if you by the way, if you ever smash cut to a bar, it has to open with someone breaking at a pool table. That's just like filmmaking 101. You have to do that. So just like the music you hear in the background, all the stuff of drinks clinking together, and that's fake. That none of that was recorded in the room.
Yeah.
So like adding that in after the fact and making it sound like it exists in the space, super difficult. Like that is a total art form.
It's called Foley art.
Yeah, Foley is the recording of it separately, and then like the sound editing is how you like mix it all in after the fact. So like it's totally appreciate what those guys do. It's super hard, but yeah, I've been trying my hand at that a little bit. Like you probably heard it a lot at Outpost Beta, because like there's always music playing in the open air, and then they'd go into O'Malley's and you kind of like hear it just really low in the background, and then we replace it with like the hum of his terminals and his computer systems and stuff like that.
There's a lot of things you'll miss if you're not actually wearing headphones. Like if you're just listening on your phone, like just with the phone speakers, you'll probably miss a lot of that. But it's there. That kind of is the part that like every time I'm done with like an episode, I just kind of go like, I spent like 7 hours, and most people probably won't even hear this like this element.
But it's like that's just commitment to your own process in that, which is good.
And video sound effects is way different than and like an audio drama sound effects.
Yeah, because again, the image
you can't be subtle. Like
the image can reinforce what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So you have that extra element of understanding from the viewer's perspective, whereas in an audio format, if you don't get the sound effects right, it just like what you're like. Was that a mistake in the room? Was that like is it something I heard outside? Like it's kind of crazy.
The most frustrating sounds I can think of are wind,
water,
trees, sand, and rain. Because all of those can just sound like that's it.
Static.
Like, just sounds like just like white noise.
Yep.
So you have to like really like with what's weird with audio stuff. Like with the video, you can get away with just the and you're just seeing water. But with audio, you gotta like find like some like drop noises.
Yep. You
gotta like have some stuff like little particles like go click 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 when you're doing sand to like add that there's like a. It's weird, but
it's really a challenge. This question is from Adam, and I think since we'll go until like 4:15 because we lost a bunch of time by switching over. So again, I apologize for that. Adam, question: do you allow multi-classing for your system? No, I've thought about it. I'm not gonna have it as an option.
The classes themselves are too powerful. Like you'd be doubling up on so many abilities.
I think Reed has a good design for his villain, so he can have a reason why they wouldn't TPK the group. That's true. There's a reason why. Right now, what's his name?
Wrist grabber.
The Brax guy.
The big robot Brax guy.
The big Templar Brax. There's a reason why he behaves with the group the way he does. Question from Alex: Will we get to hear the extra bar explosion recording from Dan's character episode? Maybe. I don't know, man. It was so unusable, dude. It was. I put it in there. I tried to I messed with all different things to like make it sound like it was far away, make it sound like distorted our voices, to layer like fire effects and explosion on top of it. It all just sounded super corny and jokey.
It was like the most dramatic moment of the whole episode.
Yeah, so I was like, nope, gotta cut it. And so if I don't know,
you hear in the distance.
I don't know. Like,
it's the boss on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, the flesh, it burns.
Yeah, the flame, it burns my face. I don't know how we would release that. I think is the tricky part. I'm obviously not going to put it on the RSS feed. So
ringtone.
Yeah, we'll just release it as a ringtone. Oh, hi, Craig. You are super late. Okay, that's all the questions so far. If we got a couple more minutes, so if you have any other questions, please fire them away. Thank you guys again for just being here and for asking your questions and for being diligent. I appreciate it a lot. This is from Alex again. Question: thank you for saying that. That is 100% our collective intention is to make them feel like something would hear like back in the 30s and 40s when people would gather around the radio and listen to War of the Worlds. Just that concept of putting something together like a full drama without the visual side of things. That's absolutely what we're going for. So thank you for that. I've not listened to any long form ones, but I'm obviously familiar with War of the Worlds. I've listened to a lot of that, surprisingly, just because of the famous reaction that Society had when it was released.
Dude, yeah, that's cool. Like the lore behind the original release of War of the Worlds. It's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
people freaked out.
Yeah, no, it was like such a different time where if you didn't remind people every 30 seconds that what you're hearing is just fiction, then yeah, like people had no reason to not believe that because it was like just got out of the biggest war the world had ever seen. Everyone's still kind of on the brink of like uncertainty and economic collapse, and then all of a sudden like, oh yeah, aliens are landing, they're burning everything, and there's like sound effects and stuff. Like
didn't the first Paranormal try to pull off something like that? Like isn't that like the found footage horror film?
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity, where like it's just a couple people in their house and you're just seeing from like security camera footage.
Right.
And then they didn't they try and pass it off as someone told me that the first release had no credits at the end. It was just like the movie ended without saying like, hey, this is a studio made this.
Oh, that's
Was
interesting.
it Blair Witch?
I would think Blair Witch did that too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think that was like the first studio found footage film to really try the whole like
trick people into
thinking. Yeah. There's a movie back in the day called Cannibal Holocaust. But it was so gritty and so raw that people thought this filmmaker, literally like murdered this actress.
Oh,
like took her to an island where he found actual.
You're talking about like in France, the
indigenous. I don't know if it's French, but
so this story sounds familiar. But go on.
So what happened was the movie released, and it was again so gritty, very grindhousey, and the imagery was so violent that
people thought they actually saw her die.
People thought they actually witnessed an actual murder.
Yeah.
By these like indigenous people that he filmed this on this island, and so he had to bring her to court to appear and say, "Hi, I'm alive. Here's how we did this scene," and it's kind of like a magic trick when they sit down and explain how they shot the scene. You go like, "Oh, I feel so stupid for not thinking of that," but like it was just such a different time.
Interesting.
That just like no one had ever seen anything like that.
There was it's a sad story. I won't share it.
Okay.
I don't want to end on that sad note.
Cloverfield did something similar. Totally, yeah. That Cloverfield is found footage. A movie called Wreck, which is like a Spanish version. There's a movie called Quarantine that came out. It was like a horror version of it, but it was based on a Spanish film called Wreck, which is short for record, like the button you push on a camera. That did it first. A lot of found footage. That kind of became almost like its own subgenre. Now
it's like that movie that did found footage where they literally jumped to any camera that was in the area.
That's why one of the reasons why I hate Chronicle.
This guy had his phone out. It's the movie I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And we're looking through the phone. Then there's this guy who has a photo camera. All of a sudden we're looking through the photo camera. Like it was just.
I for the most part hate found footage films because they so rarely commit to it.
Yeah.
And like the film that I think committed to it the best was Cloverfield.
I loved it.
But I think of Chronicle and I love the movie, but District 9 did a lot of that too, where it was like angles from security footage and stuff.
Right.
I was like, why do that? Because this isn't a documentary.
Yeah. But they jumped out of that. It wasn't all that.
It wasn't, no.
Yeah.
So like I just didn't understand the mixture of it. Question, have any of you listened to Adventures in Odyssey? Exactly the 3 I figured it would be.
Missed out.
Mike didn't grow up Christian, so
no.
What was the name of the nerdy dude and the guy who owned the soda parlor? Eugene and
no the Mr. Whitaker.
Mr. Whitaker.
And he had the Imagination Station.
Yes. Eugene. I always like to think that I was Eugene when I was a kid. I liked him.
I can see that. You're totally Mr. Whitaker now.
I think in the art he had like red hair.
He did.
Yeah. Mr. Whitaker now, yeah.
All right.
I should open an ice cream place. That when you think about it now, though, like that story would not pass. Like old guy with an ice cream parlor in a secret back room that he takes kids on adventures in.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Would not.
I'm pretty sure they made an episode of Good Times about that. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Apologies for the technical difficulties along the way. I'm going to write YouTube a nasty letter to say that they suck. But appreciate you guys. You guys do not suck. You guys are the real heroes. And
the truck drivers and
the truck drivers and the Papa John's guys
and the working moms.
So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being patrons. Thank you for supporting the show and for promoting and supporting collaborative storytelling. It's obviously a medium that all of us are very passionate about. So to see a whole group of people equally passionate about it along with us is super exciting. So obviously keep listening to season 2. We're super excited about like what's coming up next. We have a lot in the pipeline. So we normally do live Q&As the third Sunday of the month. We wanted to push it back so we could talk about episode 1 if you guys wanted to. So just remember that if for any future live streams, whatever episode has come out, it will spoil up till that point. So just a heads up. Again, that's going to do it. Thank you, guys. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend and a good week, and we'll catch you next month.
Adios.
Bye.